Apple Silicon Macs are quickly proving to be decent gaming machines, but most games are still not natively supported for this hardware and are running under Rosetta 2. So to help with finding native games, I'm going to start a series presenting a bunch of games with native Apple Silicon support. For our first episode, most games are available from the Mac App Store. As of the 11th of May 2021, most storefronts such as Steam or the Epic Games Store do not support Apple Silicon natively, and developers won't be able to release native Apple Silicon games on Steam or the Epic Games Store until Valve and Epic start to support Silicon with their clients and APIs. Number 10, we have Apple Arcade games. There are so many games that are now natively supported via Apple Arcade, so I thought I would just include them into one section. You can find a list of these games on the Apple Arcade page on the App Store under Optimized for Mac with M1. Experience an epic cyberpunk adventure in Beyond a Steel Sky. Enjoy a modern twist on the trial and tribulations of the road to Oregon. Explore an untouched world in Beyond Blue. Teleport around the track in Warp Drive. And save the world from a zombie outbreak in Survival Z. I've noticed new Apple Arcade games are updated practically every week, so it won't be long until most games on Apple Arcade are up to date, as Apple push developers to update their apps. Number 9 is Pascal's Wager Definitive Edition. Here we have a very challenging action role-playing game that is set in a world of dark fantasy. While it's unfortunate that Pascal's Wager is not a universal app with the iPhone and iPad version, this is mainly because this is the definitive edition. It includes all previously released content, higher resolution and ultra-wide support, an uncapped frame rate, enhanced visuals, and fully mappable keyboard and controller support. On an Apple M1 based Mac, you can actually play up to 4K resolution at about 30 to 60 FPS, or 1080p and will get 60 FPS always. It doesn't have anything near the polish of Dark Souls, which the game is heavily inspired by, but it's still a fun game to test your reflexes, and the world is pretty cool, I guess. Number 8, we have Luna the Shadow Dust. On the 17th of March, Luna the Shadow Dust was updated with native Apple Silicon support. What you get here is a fully hand-animated point-and-click puzzle adventure. It actually plays at 12 frames per second, with 3 layers per frame. This is a design choice to replicate classic games and to bring the unique world to life. Luna has excellent storytelling, fantastic cinematics that complement the story, and one of the best soundtracks in an indie game I've seen. You control 2 playable characters, and you will use them to solve puzzles in their own unique ways, and this is all done to trace back the memories of old. Number 7 is GWENT, the Witcher card game. On Apple Silicon Macs, you can play iPhone and iPad games via the Mac App Store. Technically, all of these games are native applications on Silicon, however, almost none are optimized for a desktop experience, except for the card game GWENT. It has official full-screen support, various aspect ratio support such as 16:9, and official mouse support. It also has full crossplay with other platforms. I really hope more developers update their iPhone and iPad games to be like this one, because this is how it should be done. The other ways are just embarrassing. Number 6, we have Asphalt 9 Legends. Fairly recently, Gameloft updated this free racing game with native Apple Silicon support. The game has been optimized quite well for Apple M1 based Macs. It can get a high frame rate all the way up to 4K resolution. but the game does get kind of similar performance on Intel Macs, so it's not anything to be completely amazed by. The Mac version also has the highest graphics and textures compared to any other Apple platform, and it has full keyboard and controller support too. Number 5 is Starman. On the 20th of November 2020, Starman was updated with native support for Apple Silicon. Starman is a puzzle adventure where you guide Starman through 24 levels that span across 9 chapters. The goal in each level is to recover light in a box, and as you progress, this small goal becomes very challenging. This indie game was made by two brothers. It's good to see that updating your game for Apple Silicon doesn't require a big team. Number 4, we have Red's Kingdom. On the 29th of April, Red's Kingdom brought native Apple Silicon support and high-res graphics and a new, cleaner front end to the game. Cobra Mobile told me, playing Red at 60 FPS at up to 4K is really a sweet experience. Red's Kingdom is a puzzle game where you follow Red after Mad King Mac has kidnapped his father and stolen his golden nut. To help Red, you will solve puzzles and battle goons as you explore and battle your way through the kingdom. Number 3 is The Pillar. The Pillar has you solving the mysteries of a strange island in order to escape. The game is very clearly inspired by The Witness, from the art style to how you just solve puzzles. But the main difference here is that the puzzles are not as cryptic and there is not much of a narrative, if any. Number 2 is World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was the first game to support the Metal API and was the first to get native Apple Silicon support on Apple M1 based Macs, back on the 17th of November 2020 that was. If you go into the game's settings, you can choose Apple M1 as your graphics card. Under this setting, the game gets 60 plus FPS at 1080p and recommended settings. Look, despite the game's age, the performance is still quite impressive, considering this game is known to have an overwhelming number of on-screen effects, players and foes at any given moment. Number 1, we have Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is the biggest game on Mac right now with native Apple Silicon support. Some would say it's just an RPG, but no. This RPG has a 20-hour campaign, or 28 hours for completionists. It has a massive open world to explore, full English voice acting, advanced animations, and a very beautiful art style. Before the M1 update, it played at 1080p 50 to 60 FPS. Now it plays at a locked 60 FPS. Nice work. It also just received the Final Cut update, with new characters, clothes, areas, cutscenes, music, and controller support. Here are some bonus games with native Apple Silicon support. Asphalt 8 also has native Apple Silicon support. The graphical detail is not nearly as good as 9, but it's still super fun and intense. MultiCraft is a complete Minecraft ripoff. I would honestly just play Minecraft, but if you're looking for a free version, go for it, I guess. Warzone 2100 is a free open source 3D real-time strategy game. It was recently updated for Apple Silicon on its official website. World of Hex allows you to make your stand on the world of our solar system. Here are some upcoming games with native Apple Silicon support. Total War Rome Remastered will get a native M1 version on the App Store in just a few weeks. Once it's up, I'll add a link to buy and download it in the description. Feral Interactive have confirmed that Total War Warhammer 3 will have a native Apple Silicon version when it launches later in the year. Path of Exile was recently updated for M1 based Macs, but it still uses Rosetta support. However, Grinding Gear Games have confirmed a native version will come in a later update. Baldur's Gate 3 is currently optimized for Apple M1 with a special version of Rosetta 2, x86-64H. It plays pretty well with this architecture. All that being said, a native M1 version will come soon. Elverells, who are the ones behind Baldur's Gate 3 for Mac, are also working on a native version of the classic FPS game Doom, or GZDoom. When it's ready, I'll add a download link in the video description. CCP Games announced last year that the deep space-facing MMO EVE Online will run natively on Apple Silicon Macs sometime in 2021. What do you think of this list of native Apple Silicon games? While the list is short and mostly contains indie games, I expect this list to grow rapidly once Steam and the Epic Games Store are updated for M1. If you found this video useful discovering native games, please drop a like, and while you're at it, why not subscribe and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with everything Apple Silicon gaming related. My name's Stewie, and thanks for watching.